databases adopt the SNPs to their search components, and so they're going to look slightly different.
Well, I sure learned something new today. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Now there was a status hearing today in the Idaho 4 case. Well, all of it was through Zoom. Judge was in the actual courtroom while Bill Thompson and Ann Taylor and everyone else involved was available via Zoom meeting. I believe the way that it worked was that Ann Taylor was actually like on the bottom floor of the courthouse with Bryan, which is like the jail part from the way that I'm understanding. So she was there physically at the courthouse, but she was on the bottom floor. Bryan never showed up on the camera. He was in the room, according to Anne, and everything was just done through Zoom this way. This had a lot to do with the IGG information. And remember, we have been told here recently that the court has decided to allow the defense to see the IGG information, but that Judge has to go through it all first. And I have made it pretty clear that I was kind of leery about that. But after today's hearing and sort of listening to the way that Judge is talking, I kind of feel like he's just trying to make sure they have everything. I kind of don't feel as hesitant about it anymore. Now, we hear at the very beginning that Bill Thompson has talked to the FBI about all of the information that is needed and that he has given them Judge's order, which is, I guess, what he has written to tell the FBI, hey, we need this, and this, basically every little thing involved in whatever they did with the IGG information, and they want it by a deadline. Now, it is a little past 8 p.m. on Thursday, November 2nd right now, and before I hit record, I checked to see if there had been any updates to the Idaho case summary, to see if there was any documents, maybe a glimpse of the actual order that Judge had the state hand over to the FBI, but as of right now, there are no new documents to look at, so I will be keeping an eye out for those. Now, Bill Thompson seems a bit aggravated. Honestly, he makes some comments about all of the bureaucracy and the red tape and all of the drama, basically, that the FBI is claiming that they have to go through to get all this information, like, approved for disclosure is what it sounds like. It has to go through the Department of Justice, and all of these different processes have to be done before they could even be handed anything. And it almost sounds as if Bill Thompson really is just kind of aggravated with it. Like, he understands that he's got to hand all this stuff over, but I think he also kind of understands that he's going to end up, or the state's going to end up, looking like the bad guys if they don't hand over everything from the FBI, because it's the state versus Bryan Kohberger, right? It's not the FBI, versus Bryan Kohberger. So all of the fault's really going to fall on the state. But in the long run and in the real world, it's the FBI that doesn't show their work. And Judge does make a statement about that towards the end of the hearing, that it's not really about all of the stuff that is there, which it is, but it isn't at the same time. The defense is more worried about what isn't there. They've mentioned that a lot, that the FBI has told them there's just some notes. There's not really valid paperwork or really any work to be shown, which is really concerning. And it was really concerning before this kind of bombshell type information, I feel, that came out today. Now, I don't know if we heard this previously, but I have been under the assumption, the same as Judge has, that there was only one SNP profile in this entire scenario. No, there's two.
My understanding was maybe there was one SNP profile, but now I'm hearing that maybe there are two, one from the FBI and one from the private lab.
That's correct, Your Honor. And the difference is that the one from the private lab is the initial profile that the private lab analyst created from the DNA, the portion of the DNA sample.
Right.
Then what was transferred to the FBI was after that original SNP had been uploaded to a database, access to the database was transferred. And it's our understanding that once a SNP is put into one of these databases, the database adjusts the SNP to fit what their criteria are for them to do their searches. So there are differences between the entirety of the two SNPs.
So what this is telling me, and just because I have, a degree in this kind of thing, it doesn't mean that I know everything about everything. I don't know hardly anything at all about genealogy and how all of this DNA stuff works when it comes to this family tree tracking stuff and how all this stuff is. Okay, that's not even anywhere near what I wanted to get into. I wanted to be more of the crime scene collection, like those first responders that go in and collect all of the evidence and then like analyze certain things. When it comes to DNA and blood and all that stuff, that is not that's not the direction that I wanted to go in. So I don't know a lot about this. I'm learning as we are all learning right here, right now in real time as we're trying to figure out what's going on with this case. So whenever the defense brought up their expert testimony a few months ago, I guess it was, whenever we heard all of the stuff from Gabriela Vargas and how the state sent the FBI her house and all that jazz, we heard how they take several scans of different DNA things and they kind of try to piece together the missing pieces through all the different various scans that get taken. And it wasn't Gabriela Vargas who mentioned that part. It was one of the other witnesses, one of the other expert witnesses that took the stand. I believe it was Larkin that made comments about that kind of thing. And I'm just going off of memory, but we did do a very in-depth video about those testimonies. So you might want to go back and check those out if you've missed that. But in this statement, this is telling us that the SNP profile that the private lab used, that they obtained from a partial sample of the DNA from the knife sheath, is how I took what Bill Thompson said there. That profile that they got from the analysis of the DNA from the sheath is a different profile than what the FBI actually used. Because whenever that original profile was placed into the database for transfer to the FBI, that program then adjusted the sequencing of that DNA SNP profile and changed it to how it needed it to be. And does that not make it seem as if the results would be different? That makes it seem exactly how it sounds. That the actual DNA profile that was taken from the sheath was then altered before the IgG was done and the actual family tree was created. I don't know if that's normal, and I'm sure we're going to hear if it is or not, but that does not sound normal to me. That sounds like they would be technically looking at two completely different DNA profiles, most likely, and by common logic, coming to two completely different conclusions at the end of that IgG investigation. Does it not? And you could tell that Bill Thompson was getting a bit nervous when he was trying to explain that the original profile, the original SNP profile, was adapted before it was sent over to the FBI and they then started their analysis. He began scratching his head. He mentioned one of the expert witnesses that seemed to be there on the Zoom meeting, a doctor who knew a lot about this stuff, referencing him, trying to get him to sort of chime in. He was nervous at the fact that this information was being publicly spoken because he knows how it sounds. Now, I don't know how that is supposed to look. And that could be completely normal. And I'm guessing that if this is a database that they use, then that happens with pretty much all of the profiles. But doesn't that mean that there's a lot more room for error there? Like, I know that people are going to be like, oh, it doesn't matter. You have the phone pings and the car being in the area and all these circumstantial things. There's no way that some error happened with the way that the DNA transferred. But there is. There could be. That's insane to me that they're technically looking at two completely different profiles because of this adaptation that has to happen inside of the database before it gets to the FBI. Why can't the original information just be sent to the FBI? Why does there have to be some sort of crazy, strange middleman program that changes the sequencing that it's given before it's sent to its destination? That doesn't seem like how that should work. Now, Ann Taylor wanted like separate deadlines and separate orders for both the private lab and the FBI when it came to the IgG information, but it sounds like Judge just wants to sort of give it a vague, generic, altogether timeline. From what I remember, I believe he stated December 1st was the deadline, because whenever Bill Thompson spoke to the FBI, I believe he said it was this past Monday, so it would have been October 30th. They told him it could take like a month to get all of this information in. So if it gets in before that, then of course they'll turn it in. But as of right now, we don't really know how Judge is going to end up doing this in-camera review of all of the information. He said if he feels like he needs to bring someone in to help him, then of course both sides will be told of who is going to be brought in, and whatever protocols need to be set forth at that point will happen. But he even said that there's a possibility that if he feels the need to, he'll call both sides in and they'll all look at everything together, which would kind of be cool, but that would definitely be one of those things that they would be having a closed session for, because of course the IgG has all of the informants, which is all of the people that are connected to Bryan Kohberger allegedly in this family tree that they want protected. So yeah, that would definitely be some sort of closed hearing. But that is it for the updates as of for now. Again, there are no new documents. Most likely they will show up tomorrow, and hopefully we get to see the judge's order to the FBI, and we'll see what the FBI actually chooses to do. Oh, and before I forget, okay, you guys, I was supposed to announce this on Halloween, and it completely slipped my mind. I just was able to get a hold of the member winner. I believe I sent her payment either yesterday or the day before. And just a reminder, the member winner this past giveaway was Mrs. Boone. Mrs. Boone. So now I'm going to take the URL for the video where you guys were supposed to comment in order to be entered to win, and I'm going to paste it in here, and does not include replies and only one comment per person. That's why I do filter duplicates, and then one winner. Now I'm going to go ahead and click. And no, I am not a robot. At least, that's what we're told anyway. And let's see. The winner is Amanda B. Amanda B. So there you go. I'm going to need to see the back end of your YouTube channel whenever you email me. My email will be in the description box as always and in the pinned comment. Email me so that I can get you your $50, and congratulations. So congratulations to the winners, and I'm sorry that I am a bit late getting this out there, but that is it, you guys. If you liked this video, please do not forget to leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. See y'all.